we go north of the border once again to Canada, because in the virtual world, COVID restrictions are not a thing. As we get closer to the finale, I don't even have a script for it. I'm just so excited for this race. But first, we have to relive the madness, the mayhem, whatever you want to call it, from the Matco Tools Motor City Mayhem from Belle Isle.
There's going to be white flag. One
Exiting
lap
turn
to go
11, down to 12, 13, and 14. There's 15 seconds. It's not like Supercross. It's not 45 plus a lap. You have to get to the line before the time expires. Dare I say it, I would have just stopped. This is the checkered flag. Janny wins in Belle Isle.
We are so bad at finding whoever wins it. Here comes Christian Challenger. He's going to finish second. Here's the battle for a third right now.
I was really sad because I know get the drive off the corner. He's going to have the better run. Slopes to the inside.
What a move! Oh, contact.
Nearly contact. They did.
Contact on their inside.
Really? Houston.
No.
And it all comes on Daniel.
Oh, my.
And David Bush III loves this. Remember, he's leading the AM category. And Houston and Clog come together. And I feel like I'm going to be a part of the review panel here in just a couple minutes, having to look at that one.
Yeah, thank God I'm not on that. I'm not on that duty. But what I can't believe what I just saw there. I mean, it's like both guys just made mistakes. Obviously, Clog made the move. Houston shut the door, and then it was just history from there.
Has 9 minutes left here in Belle Isle. This is going to put Munoz in the 5th position as Janny, Challenger, Kingsbury, Munoz, and Clog. It's going to put Munoz, is that right? It's going to put him 4th, actually. I stand corrected. Last lap, 129.1 for Janny, 129.1 for Challenger. The gap is evening out. It's 5.2 seconds. It's going to have to be a huge margin that is much quicker than what he just did to try and catch Janny.
I mean, it looks like he's holding solid right now. I assume he basically needs a miracle out of he needs something bad to happen to Janny and some very fine driving from Challenger here. I don't think, I mean, catching him is one thing, passing him is another. I don't think Challenger's gonna be able to do either. But what an amazing rebound he's had all the way back from 18th on the grid.
We look at Christian Ost and Tim Brokaw battle for 8th position. It's pro versus am, so for that championship it doesn't necessarily matter, but for the overall one, it does. Clog's got damage in the 199, given the circumstances of earlier, and David Bush pushing hard in the 32 in the Lamborghini. Clog really clobbered, or I can't believe I was about to say that. Clog clogged the curbs. Yeah, I'll see myself out. That was bad, but he is ahead of Bush in the Lamborghini. Challenger, I'll give you an update, 128.8, 128.9. There is no difference between these two. It's almost like when Challenger turns up the wick, Janny says, hold my beer. I'm going to be much faster than you.
Dude, he does. Real quick, I'm going to modify an emote.
As Charley, we got a little bit of a downtime here. How is Twitchland?
We got our very first Forrest Flat Out Facts segment. It turns out Janny and Clog neither talks during races, according to Kieran Forrest. That's no communication at all, and that's coming from a former teammate of one of them. So interesting note there. Another note that's interesting, I talked to Christian Challenger ahead of the race, as I said before. He actually predicted him and Janny being duking it out for the top spots here, and also he said this track, very difficult to pass on, which is incredible considering how many drivers that Challenger was able to pass on his way to P2 right now.
And thank you, Charley, as Christian Challenger went from 18th on the grid to P2. As we get close to getting to the last 5 minutes of today's race, and let me tell you, I was gone the couple of weeks ago, and I was really sad because I know how crazy that this series gets, and certainly
that's Ross putting it in.
certainly amazing to watch as Rawls pits in the 125 from 16th position. Like we have mentioned all throughout the show, thank you guys so much for joining us here on Nitro Circus Twitch or the Automotive Sports Network on demand. Be sure to join that conversation, hashtag NASA on Nitro or hashtag ASNTV USA, and Discord links will be spread throughout chat and description of both platforms. As Michael Janney, 1 point ahead of Christian Challoner after winning the sprint race. And Challoner did not take the grid in the sprint race, and that's what we have. That's why we have the result as we do. Ray Kingsbury has put up a hell of a fight in the 25. The amount of respect that we saw earlier on his teammate in third. Daniel Munoz, the Panamanian driver, sitting in fourth for Sequential Sim Sport. Great run for that team, despite the fact number turn number 4. So the third a fashion at its
because we were probably thinking about
gents, and what a race that we have witnessed here tonight.
I know sometimes Street Circus, they're more about the drivers. They're the ones who enjoy, but I think this is one that the fans could enjoy too. We've seen such good action, passing, drama, chaos. All the above. You see that white supposed to be water there. Unfortunately, iRacing not a good water model. If you want to do that, you can go yell at Christian Challoner in the Twitch chat, and he'll probably not see it. I don't think he does either, but you know, it's about. But he can be our scapegoat for this.
I forgot that Jake Poulin worked for iRacing, so shout out to one of the Solstice Pro Line guys that I have raced before. Forgot that he raced for, or he works for iRacing. So it's crazy to think, really quick tangent, I know it's not race related, really quick to think that I've raced against some of these people for 10 plus years and how they have evolved into staff members for various teams. Ryan Williams, a designer for Junior Motorsports. Jake Poulin works for iRacing. Jay Lopez works for Tommy Joe Martin's team in the Xfinity Series. And Tammy Joe, yes, I almost said Tammy Joe. Shut up, Victor Vallee. Words are hard. I worked for 8 hours and I got yelled at by a guy about a TV, okay? And it was not fun.
Well, you gotta yell back, Josh.
I'm not a salesman anymore, Victor Vallee. I supervise salesmen.
Ah, you're the manager.
Yes.
Ah, yes. That's probably worse. That's probably worse, though.
It is.
I mean, the pay is better, but the quality of life is much worse.
As 3/10 up was Challoner on Janney. But I hate to say it, and I really don't want to say it, but I mean, the race has really been run unless something catastrophic goes wrong. Yes, Kieran Forrest, I'm focusing. I don't have ADD, I promise.
I do.
Ray Kingsbury sits in third. Munoz, as we're looking at Clog and Busch. These lap times were equal that last lap. Busch is pushing hard. He wants to get this top 5. And Clog trying to survive with the damage on that car.
And you can see them. David Busch,
so hard to get these corners
he would
right.
have loved to see something happen here. I mean, I think this is the first time in a while we're actually gonna be able to get Jenny and Challoner into an interview together. Hope if everything plays out. I'm not gonna jinx it or anything. So it'd be interesting to see how they both feel after this race, especially after the issues that Challoner had. So we'll see.
1 minute 29.190 for Janney, 1 minute 28.725 for Challoner. 4.4 seconds is the gap as we are coming to the white flag here in Belle Isle. Kingsbury holds third, Munoz fourth. Munoz is getting close, half a second up on Kingsbury that last lap, so the Panamanian might be getting into a podium place with 1 lap to go. But is Janney going to make it to the line before the time expires? I don't know.
There's going to be white flag. One
Exiting
lap
turn
to go
11.
Here.
Down to 12, 13, and 14. There's 15 seconds. It's not like Supercross. It's not 45 plus a lap. You have to get to the line before the time expires. Dare I say it, I would have just stopped. This is the checkered flag. Janney wins in Belle Isle.
We are so bad at finding whoever wins it. Here comes Christian Challoner. He's going to finish second. Here's the battle for third right now. Carlos Munoz.
Yes,
never going to get that right. Never going to get that right.
Ray Kingsbury holds off Munoz. And that's what I was thinking, boys. I wasn't sure if there wasn't going to be enough time. As once again mentioned before, there's no COVID restrictions in the world of esports. So we welcome you to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal on the Ile Notre Dame in Quebec, Canada, for the Penguin RC Simulation Sports Car Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. As it's Josh Mertz and Mike Berry up in the commentary cube. Alongside me is Mike Berry. In the production truck, I should say, is Victor Vallee, and down in the French-Canadian Twitch land is Charley Daniels. As the cars are on the back straightaway, gridded up, we're going to run through the championship standings relatively quickly, starting with the Penguin RC Simulations Drivers' Championship. Michael Janney and Christian Challoner dueling for this title as we enter the final three races. Ray Kingsbury and Josh Clogg in a fierce battle for third. No Daniel Munoz. He has withdrawn from the series. David Bush III sits in sixth. I believe he's leading the AM standings. Kevin Fanning, also an AM driver off the top of my head, so that's 1 point difference. Peter Houston in eighth, 97 back. Schofield and Forrest round out the top 10. As the Constructors' Championship for the Sports Car Challenge presented by KES Industries, adaptive controls for sim racing. We have Fiercely Forward Spark, essentially locking up the championship, a huge margin ahead. Their points total doesn't even matter. Matt Cotul is 100 points behind, and MPR Spark in third, 113 behind Spark. As we look at the AM Class Drivers' Championship, David Bush 4 points ahead of Fanning. Forrest is a further 4 back. Rawls 13 back. Brokaw, our graphic is incorrect. As we got to the track, Brokaw actually is running a Ford, so his points are wiped. Brian Sohn, Taylor Carroll, Marwan Mofdah, Steve Lane, and Harley Moss rounding out our top 10. Our format, like normal, a 15-minute sprint race. Then we go into a 45-minute feature. I'll bring you in just a moment, Mike Berry, but we're getting ready to go. And through qualifying, it was 1/10 between Challoner and Janney. Challoner out front once again. As we get ready here in Montreal, what a wonderful track here in Canada. A track that Formula One has not visited for 2 years now, as they would have raced last weekend in Canada. That doesn't mean we can't race virtually. Safety car is off. We go through turns 12 and 13, the Wall of Champions. And Christian Challoner leads us to green in the sprint race. Huge gap over Janney. Clark's going to back up from his teammate as we go down into turn 1 and Virosh Senna turn number 2. Very tricky complex to get right, left and right. Kingsbury to the inside of Houston. Very calm through the field. I know I cut you off, Mike Berry. Welcome to our coverage. One car off, it's Mofdah, and I'll let you have a moment.
Yeah, right now we're watching. Ooh, car off the tractor. That's the 191 of Marwan Mofdah. There you go, yeah. And now, as you see, we're looking at the leaders now coming through the second of 4 chicanes on this track. This one of the more tricky ones. The only one that actually goes left to right. So. Good challenge here. We're seeing a side-by-side boundary. That's Seth Rawls and one of the Macco Tools cars. I believe Fanning. That is Kevin Fanning, yes.
As that turn 6 and 7 complex is inside Kingsbury and Harley Moss, and spinning in front of them is Schofield in the Lamborghini. So off the track goes the 27. I was just about to mention that 6 and 7 complex, infamously 10 years ago, where Sebastian Vettel drove onto the wet pavement and lost the Grand Prix after 4 hours in Montreal, lost it on the final lap to Jenson Button. If you ask Elliot Porterfield about that race, he will laugh in my face because he knows that makes me upset.
I mean, who can blame me here right now as we're still, looking at that Audi right there. Very nice looking livery right now as they come down the back, well, not the back straightaway, the second to last straightaway into the chicane, brush past the Wall of Champions now and completing the lap.
Forrest in the back of the field tried to take it side by side from Lane, and he got the position in the final chicane in the Wall of Champions. Lane's going to get passed by Lambert here. Much deeper on the brakes was Forrest, and he's going to take the spot. He is now in the 12th position. Challoner trying to pull away from Janney, and Clogg a further, looks like 2 seconds back from Challoner. And Peter Houston, that BMW, remember they had a crazy race last week in Belle Isle, so the second consecutive street race here for the Penguin RC Simulations NASA Sports Car Challenge. So technically, well, it looks like this is a purpose-built track. With it being in the Ile Notre Dame man-made island, it's actually a public park when they're not racing on it.
Yeah, similar to Belle Isle. I mean, we're 2 parks, 2 islands, 2 street courses, and 2 incredible races that we're witnessing right here. Nice, and we're still just looking at that car. I'm looking at Josh Clogg right now as he comes into the casino hairpin. Look at how much deeper Ray Kingsbury's braking. I mean, he's Clogg's taking it very easy on his brakes. Perhaps he's a little bit nervous about maybe some fuel, or just he doesn't want to use up his stuff. It's 12 minutes left in this race. If he wants to do anything, he better be doing it now.
As I'm looking through the back of the field, Josiah Wellwood had spun it in the 41, and Moptoss spun it again in the 191. As the reason why I mentioned that this track doesn't seem like a street course is because it's not bumpy like Belle Isle is. It's more of like the British would call it the billiards table kind of track. Very smooth in comparison to Belle Isle Park, but still very unrelenting with walls on both sides. Gianni was 2/10 up on Challoner that last lap, as we look and ride on board inaugural champion Ray Kingsbury in the 25.
Yeah, now as they come through here, past those Napa auto signs, starts the second set in French this time, coming into this chicane. He's riding this bumper. I'd be surprised if Kingsbury's not able to get around Clogg. He's striking so much deeper now. We'll probably see it into this chicane. There's Clogg on the brakes. There's Kingsbury just about the same time there. So, you know, thanks for proving my point wrong there, Ray. But maybe we'll see it coming into the hairpin as they come down, which I guess you could call the backstretch.
We'll go over lap times as we enter lap 3, halfway done of lap 3. 1 minute 35.933 for Challoner, 1 minute 35.779 for Gianni, so he was 2/10 up. But this is the very big difference. Clogg in the sister fiercely forward Spark McLaren, 136.771. Kingsbury, 136.842. Remember, second, third, and fourth, all teammates for fiercely forward Spark. So it's crazy to see the pace differential between them as we ride on board Clogg in the 199.
Roger Clogg right now from that bumper. Can Kingsbury get the draft from him? And Gianni and Challoner are way ahead right now. 3 seconds. Clogg's not getting anything. You see the pull he's getting. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything into the final chicane. Not there. There's Gianni and Challoner coming out of the wall of champions. Ooh, Peter Houston got kind of close there. I don't know if he touched it, but he got, maybe took some of the tire wettering off it.
And of course, there's no DRS in this series as they're GT cars. They're not moving wings like DTM is, but we saw the huge pace that Kingsbury had with the slipstream, and he thought better of it. We look at Matt Kingsbury, his brother, on the inside of Kevin Fanning. These two AM-class drivers battling for, it looks like, 10th overall. That doesn't necessarily help them. If I recall correctly, it's only the top 8 that get inverted. So the catbird seat is Brian Sohn in the 03, along with Harley Moss in the 13. That would be our front row if we ended right now.
Now let's talk about it for a second. Matt spun from 8th. He was actually, he was in the spot to take the pole. He's obviously fast. If he can maybe make some time up, he's got about 9 minutes left. He'd have to do about a second a lap at this point to catch Sohn and Rawls, but it's definitely not out of the realm.
Off the track is Harley Moss in the 13 in front of Sohn. He's going to spin to driver's left. So that will give him another spot, give Matt another spot, give everyone another spot, as he has no opportunity to back up. Robbie Larill, as I'm flicking back through the field, has also spun. He's in 17th. But that's going to put Moss from 7th to 16th in the matter of 1 corner. It's so quick to happen here. So let's reset our order. This puts Kingsbury in 10th. And we're going to look at this because he's got a huge run down the back straightaway, Casino Straight, between 11 and turn 12. Outside goes Kingsbury on Fanning. McLaren versus Ferrari, a lot like Formula One, but Kingsbury's going to get it done in the 21 for Dirt Esport.
Great move there to the outside, was able to pull that little swoopy over thingy. And now he's on the hot tail of Seth Rawls right here. And he might be just a little bit faster, and as we're watching the battle between Fanning and Lambert maybe going to take the position. Not quite. He's going to have to go through that second corner there. Not quite going to be able to
he's got the run off the corner. The bite from the 46 was perfect against the Ferrari. He can't hold it side by side through the chicane. If we can take a look up front, at least relatively quickly, I don't think it's moved, but Challoner and Gianni still fiercely battling for this lead in the sprint race.
Yeah, I mean, Gianni's not letting up at all. Challoner You know, he's very strong. As we go back to that battle for ninth, no, for 10th there between Fanning, Lambert, and Forrest. I prefer to be seeing that battle between Challoner and Janney, but you know, this is a 3-car battle for position here. This is very exciting as you see that McLaren so unstable on the exit. It looks unstable on entry there. It was just so it's super fast if you can get it right. I mean, I think we've talked about it. It's probably that and the Ferrari, or not the Ferrari. I don't like the Ferrari driving, so that's me being biased. But the McLaren and the Ford are probably the 2 most, you know, sketchy cars to drive. But that makes them very fun.
One guy that likes this is David Bush III. He's in 6th overall, leading the amateur category. We look on screen between Janney and Challoner. Janney's got the slipstream down the front straightaway, past Saint-Gilles, down into turn number 1. Challoner's going to hold it. I'm looking at Fanning and Lambert. Lambert has gotten by Fanning in the 68, so put the American from Alabama up to 10th.
Oh, great move, I can assume. I assume he did it going into the Wall of Champions there. Great move. That's probably the passing zone on this track, unless you're going to make a run at the casino. It looks like Challoner got a bad run coming through turns 4 and 5 into 6 now. I'm probably off on the numbers here. I haven't exactly counted.
You do have the numbers right, but I would advise you putting a map on one of your screens, and then you'd be able to see.
That's not a bad idea, except I run singles, so.
Well, we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
Challoner still holds the lead by half a second over Janney. He has led since the drop of the green flag. Janney looks like he ate the curb on the inside of turn 8 in that chicane. That curb is so hard to get right because you have the sleeping policeman right against the track surface. Yeah, and if you clip it wrong, you are going to go way out wide. Yeah, kind of calm through the middle and end of the field here. We're just really going to pay attention to our battle for the lead as we just crossed 6 minutes left.
Yeah, and talking about turn 8 there, we talked about Challoner doing. That's probably the most difficult corner on the track. It's so it's a little bit off camber, I like to think, and it's super tight. And that when you go in there, you gotta really watch that curb there because it will take you out. And then it's super tight coming off too, so you gotta watch yourself getting loose. It's very tough to see basically both of them using as much curb as possible through the final chicane. Coming down the front stretch now into turn 1. Janney's a little bit farther back than he's been before, but you know he's still in arm's reach from Challoner.
One car in the pit lane. It's Robbie Larrill, so the man from Texas in the 213 off the track. We know he practices at 3:45 and 35 seconds in the morning for rallycross, but I don't think he is that proficient in practicing with the rally or the sports cars. Not a jab at him. He just practices those rally cars consistently. As while we have a little bit of a moment, we'll bring in Charley Daniels. How is Twitchland and how are you?
Doing great, guys. I'm super excited for this race tonight after last week and the epic 18th to 2nd place Challoner managed. I asked him any predictions for tonight, and he said, I think it will be largely similar to last week, but any incidents are likely to be more spectacular, which to me is just the best thing to hear leading into this race. Guys?
And thank you, Charley. Remember to join the conversation on Nitro Circus Twitch, hashtag NASA on Nitro, and on ASN On Demand using the hashtag ASNTVUSA. Join us on social media at NASA on iRacing, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all of our content and that. And Discord links will pop up throughout chat and in the description of the On Demand show.
And real quick, I want to point out, I just took a look over to chat. Cubecast has come from Lang, Vita, Watch, Winnick, and Gettican, Anta City, Go, Go, Go. So welcome to all of our Welsh viewers. I butchered that only slightly.
That's a town name?
That's a town name. There's a 58 long character town name in the Welsh countryside. I believe the translation is St. Mary's something with a train station involved. I don't know. Going back to the action on track, it's like looks like the 44 Kieran Forrest might be making a move on Seth Rawls there. Rawls had a bit of a bad run there. If you can take a look at the scoreboard, Lambert got by him, and now he's got another thing coming onto it.
I really wish that I was able to put I put it in chat, but I was really hoping that I was able to put that sound. I found a video on YouTube of a guy pronouncing that, and I couldn't really understand it, but it was glorious because it's obnoxious. We're looking at Kieran Forrest, Seth Rawls here, and Brandon Lambert. This is for 9th, 10th, and 11th overall. They are all AM class drivers, but they are behind Kingsbury, Sohn, and David Bush. David Bush leading the AM category. Remember what we talked about a couple minutes ago, Mike? Matt is back in pole position for the feature race.
He is, yeah. What a move there by him, and just he's setting himself up very well right now. He's making comebacks. And now, I mean, he could go after Brian Sohn, but I think at this point, it might be best to hold on, take that pole position.
On Rawls in the hairpin, shoves him out wide. Contact between them.
Yeah, we didn't see the contact on the broadcast there, but it almost looked like he lost 2 spots there. Kevin Fanning was able to, he kind of had to shuffle in behind Rawls. Rawls would only lose 1 spot here. There we go, looking at the replay now. It looks like he just they both kind of overshot it. And, yeah. Not much to say about that. Unfortunate for both of them, but they keep going. It looks like Lambert's kind of locking up 9th at this point. He might be able to catch Kingsbury. He's going to have his work cut out for him, though.
Challoner up by 0.2 over Janney that last lap. Clog was down 0.8 from Challoner that last lap. So we know Clog is fast, but he's lacking pace. So is Kingsbury. Between the top 2, Janney and Challoner, looks like Fanning, I believe. No, it's Lane and Schofield. I apologize there. With Tim Brokaw making a return here to NASA Sim Racing, but Brokaw still for Matt Couture's running a Ford GT, so maybe experimenting with a new car for next season.
The potential he is. It's very interesting to see. I mean, if you're not really into points battle for the win here, I don't see the harm in doing this. I mean, it's get acquainted with a new car, come back next season, fresh mindset. Hell, you might be able to be competitive. Christian Challoner, I know he'll say every single car is competitive, and I agree with him. Different. I don't think Challoner and Janney have been up front, but that just goes, those guys are on another level, honestly. But
we're gonna look at Kingsbury and Clog outside in the final chicane. Kingsbury didn't make it happen there. So Kingsbury through the wall of champions, still behind his teammate, battling for 3rd. As we looks like the white flag, if we're looking at this correctly here. Will Kingsbury make the move? Not this time, but Peter Houston looks in. Clog runs it wide. Virar Senna, turn 2, looks to the inside. Very risky for Kingsbury, trying to take the spot. Down to turns 3 and 4. Remember the penalty for Sebastian Vettel in 2019? I was very mad, and I still am. After that, he ran it wide and all that fun stuff. Clog does not do that. He holds the spot.
He holds on to it very well now. Can Clog do it coming into turn 6 now? Challoner right in the ring. And don't count out Peter Houston here either. He's ready to capitalize as these 2 McLarens have some problems. Right behind him. He got a little bit loose. Wasn't able to hold on to the momentum he had, but he might be able to get it back coming into the second to last chicane here, turn 8. There he goes. Look at that. Well, on the curb a little bit there. He's going to lose some time. He's really going to just have to push hard and try and just get the run coming down the Casino straightaway here.
Challoner out of turn 10, down Casino straight. Janney in tow in the 199 Clog, along with Kingsbury. We're going to focus on this because that battle for the lead is not changing going into the wall of champions, the chicane of champions, on the final lap of the sprint race here in Montreal. We're going to look at Ray Kingsbury. Can he get the slipstream on his teammate, Josh Clog? I don't think he's going to take the spot. Challoner's going to win the race. Kingsbury to the outside of his teammate, can't make it happen. Janney comes home 2nd. We do have one straightaway, though. Clog ran it a little bit wide. Kingsbury tried to take the fight to the inside. He's going to run out of time. Clog finishes 3rd. 4th is Kingsbury. 5th, Houston. What a race for the BMW. And then we have David Bush, Brian Sohn, and pole position for the feature race, Matt Kingsbury in the 21. And he bump drafts him for good measure after the finish.
Yeah, I mean, what a race we saw there. Some great comebacks there. And if you guys thought that was all, we're going to be back in another 10 minutes. So we're going to be going for 45 minutes around this ring here.
So we're going to bring in Charley Daniels for an elongated Twitch update as I blabbed my mouth from start to finish. I'm going to step away for just a couple moments, and then we'll be back for the feature race.
Thanks, guys. You know how much I love to talk, so welcome in, everyone. Good to see you here tonight. Just a couple programming notes before we get into it. So we're streaming 4 days a week now: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The times vary. The best way, absolute best way to find out when we'll be streaming is to join our Discord. If you do ! Discord in chat, I'll do it after I'm done here. You can join. We have a Discord. Nitro Circus has a Discord, and then NASA has their own Discord. Which, if you want to join one of the NASA leagues, that would be the Discord to join. But join them both. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Thanks, Gecko, for throwing that link in chat. So yeah, make sure you come back. So tomorrow night, Tuesday, will be let's see, what are we doing tomorrow, guys? Is it the final Jettas on ovals, or was that last week? I can't keep track of anything. I'm losing my mind. Too many streams. It's a good thing, but whatever the case, Tuesday nights is Nitro Circus League. It's a super low-key, super fun iRacing league, full of people of all skill levels, from the very best to the people who maybe only play once in a while. So that's a fun one. Wednesdays, of course, the Rallycross Challenge. That's the NASA Rallycross League, Rallycross Series, rather. Man, the battle for that one, the lead in that is heating up. We've got a few weeks left of the season for all of these leagues, so make sure that you are tuning in early and often to get to know the drivers and figure out who's going to take home the win. So that's Wednesday night. The Monday and Wednesday always at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, Eastern time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So you can mark those down. Tuesdays are generally 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then our Thursday streams are a little bit earlier, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And that is Thursdays. We just started a new stream. We're calling it Micah Plays Games. Join Nitro Circus MC Micah fans for gaming with chat. Last week we played some Wreckfest and some Rocket League. This week, we haven't picked a game yet, so we're open to suggestions. Hop in that Discord and shout for your favorite game. We tend to favor games that are cross-platform and free to play, so that everyone can get involved. But we're not opposed to trying other stuff if someone's convincing enough. So make sure you get in. Give us some alternatives. We want to try a bunch of different games. We're gonna, for everything from, the new games that are big, back down to like Minesweeper if we have to, or chess, things like that I think would be fun to play with you guys. So, yeah, join us for that. Last week was super fun. Obviously, it's great to hang out with Micah. The man's a action sports encyclopedia. He's a veteran BMXer. Plus, he's been calling all sorts of action sports for a long time, including FMX and the like. So, one of the best. You're right, Teal. Love that guy. He's one of the best. So, throw a Micah emote in chat if you're a sub. You can get access to all these emotes, including Micah's face, Travis's face. What else have we got? You got this, which that one works well on every channel, so it's fun to have that one. There he is. Thanks, Teal. So yeah, Twitch is, we got all kinds of programming going on, and there's just more to come, so keep an eye out. Also, just announced today one more tour stop added to our North America Tour 2021. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name of the town, but it's near Atlanta, Georgia, Dalonga or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. It's not as hard as the Welsh city that Chad Irvine threw up in chat earlier, but it's like second to that in terms of difficult cities to pronounce. So I'm not going to try. But yeah, make sure you follow if you haven't followed. Say hey in chat, and yeah, get to know us. We're having a good time out here. And it's the best community on Twitch, so welcome in if you're new. One other thing I wanted to talk about was I tend to try to speak to all the podium finishers from last week's race before these broadcasts. This week, I talked to Challoner, Janny, and Ray Kingsbury about this race tonight, what they expected. I see we have some Janny fans in chat, or at least some Janny supporters. Janny told me he's not feeling as confident this week as he was going into Belle Isle. He said, I put a lot of time into running a 24-hour event this past weekend, so I haven't had much time to practice or perfect the setup going into it. So he's subdued about his chances, but I feel like that sort of humbleness, self-awareness is only a good thing when it comes to driving in these kind of races. So be interesting to see the battle. All the drivers admitted this track, there's a lot more opportunities to pass. It doesn't necessarily mean it's safer to pass, but we're bound to see an excellent feature coming up here in just about 5 minutes. So how are you guys in chat? Anyone? It's not like I'm out of things to say. I just want to, involve more people. So, Mike Berry, what do you have to say about it?
Oh, I just got back. I got 2 plums. Feeling good, getting ready for this second race. We still got, another 5 minutes to go on the clock. Yeah.
2 plums. That's good. That's good commentary fuel. Love the summer fruits coming into season, guys. I was at the grocery store earlier today, in fact, grabbed some cherries, grapes. Saw the plums, skipped them this time. Next week, though, I think the plums will be ready.
I have to agree with you there. We only got them today. I've already gone through about 6 of them, so. Yeah.
What part of the world are you in there, Mike Berry?
I am in metropolitan New York, just outside, about 45 minutes out of the city. It's a very nice part of the country. Sometimes gets a little bit cold in the winter though, so right now we're sitting about 60 degrees out. It's very comfortable. It was about 90 last week, so we take all the good weather and we take the bad. It ends up being a pretty nice place to live.
All evens out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I technically live in the Washington D.C. area, which is similar to in weather, a little bit less cold, a little bit less snow, but love those real seasons. You get the hot summer, you get the cold winter, nice fall, nice spring, like that. I also spoke to Ray Kingsbury earlier and asked him, at this point in the series, the battle for third place is really one to keep an eye on, because there's 4 or 5 drivers within 10 points of that third place spot or so. I'm sort of making that number up in my head, something like that. And Ray's holding it down third place right now. I asked him, who he's looking back over his shoulder and afraid to see. And he did single out Clog as someone who he picked as one of his main rivals for that last podium spot for the series. And I think we can all agree on that based on watching the racing over the last few weeks. Clog is definitely one of the faster drivers out there, and it would be awesome to watch those 2 battle for points over the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see them now, as we still have a little bit of time to watch them practice. We're going to warm up. Jenny's currently top of the board. Houston second. Phillips Schofield third. Moss fourth. Dave Bush fifth. Steve Lane. Kieran fourth. Kevin Fang. All down the rail. Are the only guys who put in laps. Oh, and we're hearing from Victor Vallee, our producer. Clog and Kingsbury are now tied for third in points after the sprint. So yeah, this is a very important race to see who will take the bronze medal. Yeah, there's a word. I mean, closer they're going to be taking advantage of any points they can get tonight.
Absolutely. And another fun fact I wanted to point out is our points leader, Christian Challoner. I've obviously had plenty of opportunities to ask him questions over the last few weeks of this series, and one of the things I love about him is he never just responds with a 1-word answer or 2-word answer. Doing these things over Discord in the text chat, Challoner will write me an essay for 3 questions, and I absolutely love it. Getting so many great details from him, and I just want to apologize to him for not even being able to have the time to get in all of his great insights about the upcoming races, or sorry, about the current race usually. So yeah, it's awesome how you can see why he's so good, how much time he thinks about this stuff, how much energy and effort he puts into it. He's an encyclopedic he has encyclopedic knowledge of these tracks, and it shows out there when he's racing.
Yeah, no, we have a little bit of a joke here. It's like Christian can take a long answer and a long question and sum it up into a 5-word answer, and take a short question and stretch it out into the Gettysburg Address, or actually that's not even that long. Some very long speech, and then he knows so much. Such a knowledgeable guy. Everybody should join his Discord if he's always willing to share information, help guys out, make setups, learn cars better. He's one of the smartest minds in sim race community. Definitely. I don't know if we can put a Twitch chat, or we can put a Discord link in the chat if that's. But definitely, if you're in the Nitro Circus, if you're in the NASA Discord, you'll be able to find it there. I think it's somewhere. I think we'll see. Anyway, we're coming to the end of warm up now. Josh Mertz is just getting back now. How you doing, Josh? Please be back.
As we get ready to grid for the feature race here in Montreal for the Penguin RC NASA Sports Car Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. It's Mike Berry and Josh Mertz in the commentary cube, Victor Vallee in the production truck, Charley Daniels in Twitch land. And like we said in the opener, there is no COVID restrictions in the virtual world. So we, in fact, are able to have our Canadian race versus F1 over the weekend. Was not. We get ready for our 45-minute feature, and our grid looks like this. Matt Kingsbury, Brian Sohn, the top 8, remember, inverted from the sprint race. David Bush, Peter Houston, Ray Kingsbury, Josh Clogg, Michael Janney, and Christian Challoner. And then we go Lambert and Fanning, Forrest and Rawls, Schofield, Lane, Brokaw, Moss, Moftal, Wellwood, Larill, and Dallas Myhan. 20 cars getting ready to take part around this tricky 2.7 mile circuit, 13 turns. The wall of champions will bite you, and it has bitten many people in the past. Beautiful camera work down the casino, back straightaway against the Ile Notre Dame, where they did, I think, a rowing competition for the Olympics back in the 1980s. That's specifically why this island exists. As we start to roll this race, gonna be good. It's a street course just like last week, but it's not a bumpy one. Still unforgiving as ever. And 20 of the, arguably, in my opinion, best sports car drivers will get ready to take part.
Indeed they will now as they come down that straightaway. Going into the final chicane, we're going to see the pace car. He's not going to be taking that chicane. He's going to be just tearing right off the track now. As they go single file through, there's Matt Kingsbury. Now they're double filing up again, waiting for that green flag to wave. Barney, the flagman, is nowhere to be found. The green flag is out as they come across the line, Joe.
Kingsbury, great run past the start-finish line to the inside. Bush goes on Sohn. Houston tried to make it 3 wide, thought better of it. Kingsbury to the outside of him, 25 versus 4. Through turns 1 and 2. Kingsbury loves this. He's pulled away. Wellwood did not grid. He starts in the pit lane from 20th. Sohn by himself in second. Houston and Bush battling for third. Kingsbury tries to take the fight. Challoner and Janney side by side. 1 car around. It's David Bush, the AM points leader. This is critical for their championship defense, or championship lead maintaining, I guess I should say. Challoner loves this though.
Oh, and he just turned another guy. There's
1 car around. It's one of the Fords, and it is Robbie Larill.
Damn, that's the second incident he's had. His car was looking about the same before as it was. Let's take a look at that incident. I don't know if it was David Bush's fault. It might have just been a mistake. Oh no, he just got loose. Oh,
yeah. Kingsbury off the track from the lead. He had to slow down. He got a slowdown penalty in the chicane in turns 8 and 9. So we take the man from Connecticut out of the race lead. His brother peeks to the inside of Peter Houston in the 4. This puts Brian Sohn in the race lead as we catch the replay of Kingsbury there getting past. Down the casino straightaway. Josh Clogg trying to get the slipstream on Matt Kingsbury. Houston to the inside of the Ferrari of Brian Sohn into the final chicane. Kingsbury tries to take the fight as well. Houston to the lead in the BMW. Sohn is in second, but Kingsbury, great run in the McLaren off the corner. Matt Kingsbury getting close. Clog has the draft, and Challoner once again loves this. He's got a decent gap from him to Janney. He's going to peek to the inside for a moment, thought 3 wide on Clog and Kingsbury. Kingsbury's there, and dare I say it, will he get held up? Janney peeks to the inside. He gets nudged by Lambert in the 46. Challoner squirrely off the corner, and Brian Sohn dropping in the field, but Houston pulling away in the BMW.
Indeed, he is there. Peter Houston making a great charge to the front. I believe he started third, and now he's already up to no, he started fifth. Sorry, fourth. Okay, it's P4 apparently. I thought he already moved up there, but now we're going back in the field, and Christian Challoner actually getting held up there by Matt Kingsbury. We know he's a fast car. We know him and Janney are looking awfully racy tonight, but I don't know how hard it's going to be for them to move through the field at this point. It's got 42 minutes left, and they've already moved up a couple spots. How, as the tires wear, are they going to be able to get to the front? I mean, Peter Houston, he was not too far behind.
Challoner to the inside of Kingsbury.
The inside.
Trying to peek to the inside. Janney likes this because the longer Challoner gets held up, the easier he can catch up to the Briton in car number 7. Technically speaking, Christian Challoner, the winningest driver in the Sports Car Challenge, with 13 wins off the top of my head because he won 8 races in the AM category last season.
In a row.
Janney drafting down the backstretch, can't make it happen yet.
Yeah, let's not forget, if you're counting Christian Challoner won, I believe, 16 races in a row last season, until he was until an incident at the Circuit of the Americas cost him his streak there. The biggest streak in sim racing came to an end, but he was still bounced back, rallied back, whatever you want to call it, to go and win that feature there, starting in third.
Clog got by Sohn going into turn number 1. Challoner still stuck behind Kingsbury. Janney's not too upset at this. Up front, it has not changed. Houston in front of Kingsbury. Now it's Clog. Sohn got passed into turn number 1. Running order through the bottom of the field has not changed. Kieran Forrest has damage on the back of his car. I'll try and investigate that. And I noticed we only have 19 cars on track. Dallas Myhan did not grid for either race. He not even qualify, so must have had technical issues on car 141 as he did not take to the track. Kingsbury does it again in the 21, locks it up and runs it shallow through the corner, and he's going to get a slowdown. He's going to get passed by Challoner, Janney Lambert. And I know personally how fast Matt Kingsbury is, how aggressive he is, but also he can be super inconsistent.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, consistency is key here. You can be inconsistent during sprint race, but you got to make sure you're running good laps consistently. I need to find a source out so I can find a new word for consistency. Here comes Challoner, so making his way up. He's into 5th, up 3 spots. Janney right behind him. Let's talk about Janney, just how deep on the brakes he gets. He's so controlling of the car. I mean, we know that McLaren is notoriously slidey. I mean, that Audi isn't too far off, but, it's just very interesting to see how well he's able to control it. And frankly, all of the McLaren drivers have been able to keep that thing under their feet.
As there's no disrespect to Brian Sohn at all, especially he's our owner of the title partner with Penguin RC, but he's obviously not as fast as Challoner and Janney. So this is holding up Challoner. But Janney loves this, so he gets an opportunity every couple of corners to peek to the inside, almost using Sohn as an unintentional pick as we exit the chicane, turn number 7, down the back straightaway into turns 8 and 9. They go under the bridge that connects them to yet another island here in Montreal. And Challoner deep on the brakes, but Janney's even deeper and into the casino hairpin, turn number 10 to begin sector 3. It's going to be interesting to see if Challoner will start to get desperate or Janney will get even more desperate. Kingsbury catching up to Houston. Clog in the middle of these two battles. Half a second between the BMW and the McLaren, and then it's a further 1.5 seconds from Kingsbury to Clog. And then you'll put another 1.5 seconds to Sohn as Houston starting to break the slipstream down the backstretch.
And you can see it. I kinda
Inside
think-
Challoner! Inside Challoner into the final corner on Sohn. Can he make it stick? Yes! Jenny tries to take it, he can't! So he's gonna get stuck behind Sohn in the 0-3. Lambert sneaking into the picture. Jenny has to get by Sohn. Granted, we have 2 races after this, but Jenny has to get by Sohn to mitigate the points that he's losing, especially if Challoner's going to pull away. And Lambert enjoying this as well in the 46. He sits in 7th.
Yeah, definitely. Challoner, not Challoner. Challoner is sitting second in points right now. Jenny, I believe the points gap is only down to 10 points. That's 2 positions normally. I think it might be a little bit more if it's a 1-2. But yeah, I mean, we could potentially see the points being tied up going into Homestead. And then, you know, however it goes there, going into Sears Point there, it's going to be super interesting to see, like, this championship battle. Definitely, we have 2 very exciting championship battles right here, and we are here for absolutely both of them on the Nitro Circus Twitch channel.
As Houston and Kingsbury still battling. It was 0.3 of a second. Houston has pulled a 10th on the man from Connecticut. Janney looking to the inside, peeking to the inside of Sohn in the 0-3, very late on the brakes, very deep on the brakes. Janney can't get it done. He was very close to locking up. Wiggling through the corner is Sohn in the 0-3, down to a casino straightaway. And the speed that the McLaren already has over the Ferrari, he should get the slipstream. Sohn's going to defend, nearly puts him in the fence like Michael Schumacher and Barrichello in Hungary in 2010. And down to the final chicane, turns 12 and 13. Janney gets by Sohn, put him in P5. And now he's got a huge gap to Challoner.
Indeed he does, yeah. I mean, Challoner, you see him counted at the line, 1-2 seconds potentially right there. He's going to have some work to do, and Challoner's coming up on clock. He's definitely not going to make it easy for him.
Lambert and Sohn battling for 6th. And from Alabama, Brandon Lambert, the inaugural Rallycross champion, proves and shows these guys that he kind of knows what he's doing without dirt on the racetrack. In that McLaren behind the Ferrari, those 2 in the AM category. So let's actually get an update really quick. If I look through the field, that's actually the AM battle for the lead. Sohn and Lambert and Kingsbury are battling for the AM class lead. So that's the podium all under a blanket.
This is
Houston's still holding off Kingsbury. This is getting very spicy at the front of each of these fields.
Yeah, you see him look at the 46 there, diving a little bit deep on Sohn. Not able to make anything stick. He's looking for the momentum now, coming into Casino Hairpin. Now, I'm taking a look at the scoreboard right now. Challoner and Janney, I mean, Janney's not losing too much time right now. He has technically gained from my unofficial count. And we're looking right now.
Slipstreaming down the back straightaway, Houston versus Kingsbury. Houston knows he has to break the draft down the back straightaway. Kingsbury was a 10th up on Houston that last lap. Into the final chicane. We'll see when these lap times update. Kingsbury clobbered the curbs in turn number 12. And we'll get a lap time update for Peter Houston. 1 minute, 37.118. Kingsbury was 0.2 down. Clog, 1 minute, 36.824. So he's faster than both of these guys. Challoner, 36.3. Janney, 36.4. Really quickly, Charlie Daniels, give me a Twitch update.
Trevor Teal with the gifted sub to Drive Dead 12, who got an ad break right at the wrong time. Now he won't, thanks to the generous gift from Trevor Teal. Thanks a lot, man.
As I looked off screen. Kingsbury the inside of Sohn. Schofield went to the inside of Sohn. Couldn't make it happen. So Brian Sohn falling through the field in the 0-3, but he's still ahead of Schofield in the Lamborghini. So we have 2 Italian manufacturers. As we did that Twitch update, we get an update from our director, Ray Kingsbury, has had an issue, and he slid it into turns 3 and 4.
That was crazy. I mean, you don't expect something like that to happen, but we did talk about the nature of the McLaren is it gets very loose. I mean, he put barely anything on the grass there and just whipped around on him.
So one man's misfortune is another man's fortune, and that man is Christian Challoner. Unintentionally, with Ray crashing, gives Challoner another position, and it gives Janney another position. So I don't think the points are relatively going to change, but that's also like a double-edged sword. You give your teammate another spot, but you're giving his rival another spot as well. So we're coming to 33 2.5 minutes left to go. Still plenty of time. So we look at Sohn and Schofield in the final corner, and the Lamborghini gets by the Ferrari. So we put the Lamborghini into 8th overall. Seth Rawls, the winner from Sebring in the AM class, sits in 10th overall in his Mercedes-Benz.
We got a
Kingsbury
great battle.
and Lambert here.
Yeah, let's talk about this battle right now. Those two McLaren, I'm almost saying Mercedes. It's not McLaren Mercedes anymore. It is just McLaren. You see, actually, it's a three-car battle.
Into the wall! He got so close. Wow, I had to interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's the nature of this track. It's so tight. I know we call it the Wall of Champions coming onto the front stretch, but basically every corner on this track has its own Wall of Champions. You see them coming through that one there. That one's a little bit less treacherous. But that one in turn 4 and that one in turn 12, man, they are just scary.
As Houston enjoys this as well, Kingsbury gets nudged by Lambert.
A bump and run.
Shoves him out wide. Lambert's going to give him the spot. Actually, he's going to take the spot. And Matt Kingsbury likes this because he was able to get 1 and 2. So Schofield peeks to the inside of Lambert now, and Sohn to the inside of Lambert. So the midfield battle here getting very spicy. And this is from, it looks like, 5th on back. Kingsbury falls to 9th. Spicy is the word of the day, as Victor Vallee asked me that. If it was, Kingsbury the outside of Sohn, McLaren versus Ferrari once again, Pro versus AM, and we'll see if Kingsbury down into the final chicane, being able to take the position, outbraking the 0-3, still there, he gets it! Puts him on the curb, textbook move from the Connecticut native. Yeah,
that's, as I said before, that's one of those swoopy thingies. What a great move that was, though, as we're now going back up and watching the Philip Schofield and Brandon Lambert going at it hard. Well, about to go at it hard, I mean, at least.
There's Clog, Houston, Clog, Challenger, Janney, Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury, the running order in the top 5 so far. Schofield, Lambert, Ray Kingsbury, Sohn, and Rawls, the top 10. If we take a look at lap time through the final sector, through the last lap, 36.9 for Houston, 36.7 for Clog, Challenger 36.4, Janney 36.8. So Challenger fastest man on the circuit by far right here.
And let me talk for a second about the points battle, because I'm kind of keeping track of it in my head. He was 10 points back at the beginning of the feature. Challenger has now clawed his way up to 7 points back. It's a 3-point gap between 3rd and 4th. He moves up, will be in 8th, and then, assuming Janney potentially makes his way up into to 3rd, the points will be tied. Or actually, no, wait, no, that's not right. No, if he moves away up to 2nd, the points will be tied. If he moves up to 3rd, he'll lose the points lead by 5 points.
As I was looking at Peter Houston just to see his gap, he drove into the wall, and not to roast him on a live stream. He barely scraped it, but it still registered a sound effect for hitting the wall. I don't know if that's going to let any damage onto car number 4, but it doesn't look like it. But we know the sims sometimes put damage on a car, even if it's mechanical. Clog catching up, 0.3 up on Houston that last lap. Challenger a further 0.2 up. The podium is getting close here, boys.
Indeed it is. As Matt will watch come down here. I think Challenger's going to be able to make quick work of him, but I think Josh Clog is going to hold on as long as possible. He's got his teammate who's in the points leader right now. I know they don't talk during races, as we learned last week, but he might be just thinking of him, being like, hey, I can hold on to the position and I can tell my teammate, hey, that's a win-win. Especially now he's got a run on Peter Houston, who seems to have dropped off a cliff there.
As the BMW, we know, is fast at the beginning, but I think it is a heavier car, and it's a little bit longer than these other cars, but I could be horribly incorrect there.
You're not wrong, I don't think.
But Houston scraped the wall, like I mentioned, that last lap. So Clog getting closer in the McLaren and the Audi of Challenger. So we'll see off of the Casino hairpin, down the back straightaway, the Casino straight. And this is such a very tricky overtaking spot because you get the slipstream down this back straightaway. And if you can outbrake someone into the chicane, you're a hero. But if you end up in the fence,
you're a zero.
In the Wall of Champions, and you are, in fact, a zero. Final couple of corners, turns 12 and 13 for Peter Houston and Josh Clog. We just crossed under 30 minutes to go, so 2/3 of this race still left. We got a lap time update. Houston runs a 37.1, 36.5 for Clog, and a 36.4 for Challenger. Something is going wrong with that Beamer.
Indeed it is. It's just going to be very unfortunate. Peter Houston driving a great race. Great talent he was. He had one win last season. But don't forget about Janny right here. He's actually closed up a little bit. He was about 2 seconds back. He's now about 1.7. Challenger is losing time with these guys in front of him. So he's going to be trying his hardest to get around them as soon as humanly possible.
I just have a thought. Do you think Houston burns up his tires too early on in the run? I'm not familiar with the GT3 cars. I haven't ran them in quite some time, but I would imagine it's like any other car. You can really haul the mail and do well outside. I'll get to that point in a second. Challenger on Clog. He's going to let him through. That was
very interesting strategy there for Clog there.
Okay.
I mean, he's got to be. I mean, I'm assuming he's not looking back at his teammate there. But, you know,
maybe he's trying to give the slipstream to Janny, but I don't know. I was just about to mention maybe the Beamer has burned through his tires to try and maintain this lead, but now, unless Clog's going to try and get the slipstream down the back, but this stuff, once again, word of the day, fascinating. Houston, Challenger, Clog, top 3, Janny, and Matt Kingsbury's the top 5. No slipstream, really important this lap as they're not close enough to make anything happen into the final chicane.
Yeah, that was a very bizarre call there by Josh Clog. I think he'd be fighting for every position. Unless he's just going to try and get the run now and keep an eye on Christian Challenger here. He's right on the bumper. He's going to make the move to the inside. Oh, that is...
Car spun around. It's Robbie Larill.
Oh, that's...
Stays out of the way of the race leaders. This is actually allowing Janny to close up. Larill was in the pit lane. He stopped and let the field through. I don't know if the sim tells you to do that or if he did that on his own recognizance. But good move either way for Larill. Houston was 0.6 slower than Challenger that last lap, but he was 0.3 faster than Clog the last lap. And Janny, 36.5, was just on pace with Challenger. Down. We say back straightaway between 7 and 8. We say the back straightaway between 11 and 12. Challenger to the outside of Houston.
Oh, he doesn't
down
have
the
the
braking
run.
zone at turn 8, and he can't make it happen.
What? It seems like that Audi, I think it's a little bit slower in the straight line than
Huge
the
run, though.
BMW is.
Huge run off of turn 9. Houston blocked him.
But that block might have been premature. You only get one block. At that second block, you'll incur the wrath of a very angry British man there. As now they come through the hairpin.
Clog gets sent to the curb. Janny is here. We remember that we thought he was out of it. The fiercely forward cars are going to get the slipstream for each other down the back straightaway, but Challenger has to make a move on Houston if he wants to hold this spot over the 2 fiercely forward cars. But once again, he cannot get close enough in the final chicane. Will he get it through turn 13?
World War II is the Germans versus the English. As now you see Peter Houston flashing his lights. And there, actually, the 2 English having an infight in there. There's Janny. He's going to try and make a move to the inside. He's going to get it.
On his teammate, he gets it. But I
there
think
he goes up to third. Now championship battle is on.
That's got to be the strategy that we kind of had some foreshadowing on that. With Clog letting Challenger through, he got the slipstream for Janny for a couple of laps, and now they both have to get by Houston. But now Houston is doing a brilliant job defending on Challenger. It's going to allow Janny to potentially sneak the spot away from his British rival through 6 and 7 down the straightaway. Remember when they were battling for the lead in West Virginia and Summit Point? Houston still defended there well, and he's maintaining this one here in Canada. And Janny gets close. Squirrely off the curb off of turn number 9 is the car number 113. Challenger tries to peek to the outside now of Houston. Down into the casino hairpin. Janny loves this because if he gets shoved out wide, that's his spot. He did it! Challenger runs it wide. Houston runs it wide. On the curb goes Janny.
Oh my God, oh, not quite 3 wide there, but what an incredible move that was by Challenger. He's got to the inside now. It's going to be a drag race down the casino straightaway going into turn 11. I'm running out of breath. Here we go, Josh Mertz taking over for me to go into the Wall of Champions.
Challenger into the final chicane, deep on the brakes. He's going to get by Houston. And that is a position change. Put Challoner into the race lead. Janney's going to get the slipstream on Peter Houston down the front straightaway, and he's got to dispatch the BMW to get past his championship rival, who is now leading the race with 23 3/4 minutes left to go. Challoner 138.2. Janney was a 137.8, 4/10 up. He didn't have to worry about passing anybody, but now he does. Peter Houston, one of the most aggressive defenders in the series.
Indeed, the points are tied. No, Challoner took the points lead there. 5 points ahead of Michael Janney right now. If Janney gets around him, the points will be tied up again. We're watching Janney now. Can he make a move now? He's trying so hard to get around Houston, but it's just not quite playing out for him.
While we have a moment, Charlie Daniels, how's Twitchland?
Everyone, we got a lot of Janney supporters in chat, guys, so I just want to quickly quote him. He said, I think there'll be a lot more fighting into corners, especially Wall of Champions, because of how quickly these cars can catch each other in the draft with a good run. So Janney predicting that draft would be a big factor in this race ahead of time.
Speaking of Janney, he peeked to the inside. Now he had to go the other way on Houston. Will he take the risk in the casino hairpin? He does.
Look at the glow of his rotors.
Contact nearly between them. I don't know if that was net code or physical contact, but Houston holds the spot. Janney's going to get the better run. His teammate's going to give him a Daytona-style bump draft down this back straightaway. Who said two-car tandems were dead? It's just not at a super speedway. Getting ever so close! They made contact down the straightaway.
Trying to invest a side draft there. Not quite paying off. They're going to go side by side to the champions.
Houston's going to run it wide into Janney.
Are they 3 wide? They might be 3 wide. You see him basically blocking him to the grass.
Clog is going to get put to the grass. You can't fight. You can't be mad at Peter Houston, but if you're one of these fiercely forward boys, you got to be fuming at the BMW. You know he's slower, and he's holding you up. Clog past the 4. Clog contact with Houston. I think they made contact last week.
They're still side by side. Oh, Houston makes contact. Gonna give him a little bit of a bonus, a Vettel moment there. Not quite.
Clog into second. Challoner checking out 3.5 ahead of Josh Clog, as Houston very aggressive in second and third, trying to defend. Janney on the outside looking in the 113. You have 21.5 minutes left to go, and you have to make something happen unless you are going to see your championship potentially slip away. Houston misses the apex in the first part of the chicane. He takes the fight. Houston puts him to the curb, or to the grass, I should say. Down to the casino hairpin, turn number 10. Will Janney fight once again? Deep on the brakes? He does not. He's going to back up the corner, Mike, and he's going to try and get the better run down the backstretch.
Yeah, Peter Houston making that car. I know we talk about the BMW M8, the big mate. This is the big M4 right here, and he is coming out of, he's making that car 10 lanes wide. Oh, it's gonna be so difficult here for Janney to get around him here.
Challoner
producer says making it wider than the BMW on the interstate.
We're gonna look at the lap times. Challoner is 4 seconds ahead on the track, ahead of Clog, or sorry, 4 seconds ahead of Houston. Timing has not updated. 36.6 for Challoner. Put it into perspective, Janney stuck in traffic, 38.5.
Yeah, well, great battle that has been right here. There's the 113 trying his best now, just cannot do anything. I mean, he's just trying his best. Again, 10 lanes wide, he made it. Maybe he's going to try and make it 11, though, right on the bumper now as they come into the little foresty section area thing. And now as they come into turn 6, not going to quite catch him. Maybe a little bit of contact on the bumper there, not quite.
Just to update everyone, no real battles. Forest to the inside of lane, that is for 13th overall. This is the best battle that we have on track, and especially because it's relevant to the race lead. Houston still holds the podium spot ahead of Michael Janney. Janney rides the curb through turn 9 to get the better run down this little straightaway where Robert Kubica had his huge crash in 2007. Down to the casino hairpin, still can't make it happen. Nudges him! I lied! Make me a liar! That's gonna put a little damage on the 113. Janney flashing his lights. Houston flashes his lights. So dare I say it, maybe Houston brake checked Janney into the hairpin. Challoner pulling away, 3.6 ahead of Clog. Houston Janney and Matt Kingsbury. Remember Ray Kingsbury, who had a great opening stanza to this race, now still in 6th, 18 seconds off the lead. The inaugural champion had some struggles in the first sector and in the middle sector as well.
Indeed he did that there as we go into turn 1. Janney trying his best, looking to the inside, takes a lot tighter of a line there than Houston does, not even using the curb on the exit there. Now he's going to try and just get it into turn 3, sitting right there. I wonder if he's starting to get a bit frustrated. We know he's faster than Houston. Absolutely fuming with cumin. Here's a go now into turn 6. Just not quite able to get anything done. And there he goes. He's got a run coming down the straightaway now. Come down the backstretch into turn number 8. Houston takes defensive line. He's going to try and outbrake him maybe. On the bump. He's going to be able to hold on to it though. He does not have the run coming down to Casino Hairpin, Josh.
I'm going to give a little update to any David Busch fans. When it rains, it pours for the Lamborghini driver. He sits in 16th. He just got passed by Harley Moss in the sequential SimSport Lamborghini for the 15th position. So the man who has won several AM class races in the season, I think the last 2 in a row, to be honest, off the top of my head, not having the greatest day. Janney also not having a great day in relation to his championship rival, Christian Challenger. If you're just joining our coverage here on Nitro Circus Twitch, Penguin RC Simulations NASA Sports Car Challenge presented by Nitro Circus. It's Josh Mertz, Mike Berry, Charley Daniels, and Victor Vallee in various spaces in cyberspace. We're watching some sports cars go around a track that we don't have any COVID restrictions on. Michael Janney and Peter Houston. Houston had a hell of a defense.
Oh.
He got passed. Janney laid on the brakes, almost nudged him. Houston got passed by Challenger, Clog, almost got put in the fence by Clog, and Janney getting desperate. He's losing his points lead.
Indeed he is losing his points lead right now. I think he's sitting 13 points back. He came in with a 13-point buffer. Well, no, he's 8 points back. That's wrong. Yeah, he's 8 points back now. Came in with a 13-point buffer tonight. Now he's just way, he's got a little bit of work to do going into Homestead. So a serious point here.
A huge point swing here in Montreal from Michael Janney. And I don't want to say this now and jinx him, but what if this is the cause of the championship? We've seen that happen in NASCAR and F1 and IndyCar, any discipline of motor racing, that you have a slip up. You have one bad race where it doesn't go your way and the whole season derails.
Yeah, it's going to be super, he's trying his best to hold on to the point sweep, but not quite. And he might have made some contact off of the Casino Hairpin there, coming down to Casino Straight right now. Super, very tight and scary and all that stuff.
Houston's got damage on the back of his car. I don't know if that was registered when Janney drove into him. That was, because it looks like he's got damage as well. Janney over the second curve in the Wall of Champions. Very aggressive. And now he's going to try and slipstream down the front straightaway and get onto the podium.
Yes, he is.
Can't make it happen. Challenger's going to run into some lap traffic. First, Josiah Wellwood in the 41 in the BMW. And then, way up the road, is Marwan Moftah. Moftah's actually on the back straightaway, so ignore me on that. He is on pace with the field. Janney still desperate to get by Houston, and he's just not sending it. I mean,
Nice.
I could see why he's not. Houston wide and brake checks him, it looks like.
Yeah, these guys not going to be happy with each other. Maybe some words after the race. I mean, this is some of the hard-fought racing. Jersey Janney showing his frustration, blinking and blinking and blinking. Not able to get anything done, though.
Janney off of the chicane, off of turn 9, down to turn 10. Will he take the fight once again to Houston? Peeks to the outside now of car number 4 into turn number 10. He's going to run it way wide to do exactly that, make Houston run wide and get the better run off the corner. He's going to get the slipstream here, Mike, down the straightaway and potentially make the move into the Wall of Champions.
Yeah, there he goes. He's not going to be able to quite hold on to it, though. I believe that, that was a really shaky move there as they open to the outside now. Oh, big serpentine trying to make any draft not work. At this point, I think Janney's got to be super frustrated at this point. I mean, God, I would be absolutely fuming right now. I'd be almost at the point of using the bumper, but I know he's a respectful driver, he's a respected man, and I know he will not, take the low road there.
Just to give you an update, blue flags were shown to Wellwood. Wellwood moved out of the way for our race leader, Christian Challoner, and Josh Clogg, 3.5. The gap hasn't changed, so, I mean, they're equal on lap time. Equal on lap time for the most part, 4/10 up that last lap. Houston finally gets passed by Janney, and Janney checks him out wide for good measure.
Wow, look at that move he made right there, folks. That is a textbook move.
Textbook dive bomb.
Yeah, textbook dive bomb. Janney showing
Houston gets the draft down the backstretch.
Don't count Houston out here.
He nudges him, and Houston around.
Oh. There's the next car back there. That's Matt Kingsbury. There he comes through. He's got to be careful. Ugh, thank God he got it off the track. Now he's got to watch for Ray.
He'll get by.
Ray's not going to be able to get by though, but he's definitely got some yeah.
Clobbered the curb in turn 8, and these cars very upset when you clip the curbs the wrong way. As a result, Christian Challoner still leads. Clogg still second. Michael Janney sits in third now on the podium. And Matt Kingsbury, after spinning, he leads in the AM class by a huge margin over Brandon Lambert, not only position-wise, but if we look at the positions, he is 16.5 behind Challoner, but if we look down at Lambert and do some quick math, that's 14 seconds from Kingsbury to Lambert. Kingsbury going into turn 1, Lambert coming through the final chicane.
There it is, yeah. Let's talk for a second. Clogg and Janney. Janney's closing in. Will Clogg fight him, or will he just let him get ahead and take that position? He needs every point he can get. He can tie the points up. Right now, he's only sitting about 5 points back. Thankfully, he's basically playing damage control at this point. He's got a lap card there of Mr. Wellwood, 41 BMW, that matte black car, very nice, matte blue car, surprisingly nice for something so basic. Because now you head him into the casino hairpin.
We should see the blue flags for the 41 in P18. He will stay out of the way of Janney, but it definitely did compromise Janney's corner in turn 10. Last lap, 37.1, 37.2 for Clogg. It was Janney, then Clogg, I should say. To put it in perspective, Challoner, 36.5. So the gap is now about 4 seconds from Challoner to Clogg. But there is damage. There's damage on Clogg on the left rear, and there's damage on Janney on the front due to both having incidents with Peter Houston. But the one car that's clean is the car that's out front, and it's the car that Janney does not want to see out front. Mike, it's Christian Challoner out front.
Indeed, there's no Christian right there. I mean, we can probably take this time and actually go through a little bit through the field. Christian Challoner, obviously, our current points leader now. As they run, he's in that Audi right now, having a great run tonight. Yeah, and just keep looking to continue the momentum. He had a couple slow weeks now as we look back at Josh Clogg. He's tied for third in points with Ray Kingsbury. He's up to 30. He's up to third in points now. He was tied with Ray Kingsbury coming into this race. Not quite going to be able to, Ray Kingsbury's not going to be able to hold on here. So now let's take a look back there. Here's Michael Janney, your former points leader. Came into this 13 points ahead. He's currently sitting at 5 back. He's going to have some work to do in that McLaren. There's our AM points leader, not our AM points leader, our AM leader, Matt Kingsbury, in that very nice looking Shark Dirt Esports, like kind of Sharky paint scheme. Very, very cool, very aggressive, really suits the driver. Peter Houston sitting farther back there. Obviously was running super strong there. Then there's Ray Kingsbury, guy sitting 4th in points. He's going to try to do his best to get around Peter Houston now. That's going to just try and minimize any of his losses to his old friend Josh Clogg. Philip Schofield, obviously. In P7, great run for him. Usually not the dominant Lamborghini, but he's definitely putting on a show. Looking back, there's Brandon Lambert. An amazing looking, kind of looks like a cherry colored car. Like one of those like really dark cherries you get in the summer, even a plum. We're gonna come back to what I was talking about earlier. The 90-something Studios machine, as Victor Vallee reminds me. Seth Rawls just behind him, our lone Mercedes in the field. We do need more Mercedes, as our producer points out to me. So you know, if you guys are interested in joining, I mean, either due to Porsche, or the Mercedes. The Mercedes is a beautiful looking machine. I drove it for years. And talking about cars, don't have too many. There's Tim Brokaw in that Ford GT, the oldest GT car on the service. And then right behind him is his teammate, Kevin Fanning. Two Matco Tools cars looking gorgeous. Kind of throwback to the old, to the 1960s Ford GTs. Obviously, they ran new ones last season when they were racing the Pro category. As now we look back at Kieran Forrest there in the 44, one of our moderators, having a very respectable run tonight. Just, you know, going out there and driving the clean, solid race. There's Mr. Moss and Mr. Bush, two cars very similar in the Lamborghini and the Alliards, you know, basically sister cars here. And let's point out, as Victor points out to me, Bush came in as the points leader. If we can actually pull that up now for AM category. There it is right there, David Bush. Yeah, Kevin Fanning, I believe, is the points leader at this point now. Kieran Forrest not too far behind. Seth Rawls, actually, yeah, Seth Rawls might have. We've definitely made some gains here. Might not be in the points lead, but yeah, great offensives by people here. They're going to try their best now to move up. Yeah, and there's Lane and Stone right there, the two Ferraris. Stone was our second place starter in the feature. Wasn't able to quite hold on to it now as they come off the wall of champions on the straightaway. There's nothing. Can't see the scoreboard. I can't tell exactly who it is. I'm not good at distinguishing paint schemes. There we go. We got it back. It's Steve Lane. I said Steve Lane before. I'm obviously losing my mind at the age of 18. Good job, me. There's Marwan Mofter right behind him in the Mercedes. A very gorgeous looking. Kind of reminds me of Spider-Man. So that's very cool. He's having a solid run. And then obviously Wellwood and Larill is off the track right now, 10 laps down. There's Wellwood. Oh, Larill's back out on the track, we can see. Having a bit of a rough day, just, you know, riding around at this point, maybe trying to learn a little thing, maybe learn how to drive with a damaged car. I mean, it is absolutely destroyed at this point. You can see he's down on power, down on downforce, down on, I don't know, morale. He's, you know, having a rough day. Let's take it back to you, Josh. Well, you seen anything going on?
As we take a look at our field, I was taking a look while you were doing that. Kingsbury gets by Wellwood. Wellwood shown blue flags. And it's relatively strung out. We come to 5.5 minutes left to go, and Challoner has the horseshoe stuck somewhere where the sun doesn't shine because he was able to take the fight. Brilliant passing. It just worked out from Houston to him. There was a very great amount of racing, very good respect being shown, and that's why Challoner is up front by a huge margin. As we remind our viewers, Christian Challoner was a pro-level driver in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, so certainly knows what he's doing on the service.
And don't forget, he gave up that spot because he got offered a position at iRacing now. Instead of competing, he makes sure that everybody else competes on equal terms. He works on the GT3 balance of power. He's the guy taking all of the bullets, as all of you complain to him on the forums, on the old ones and the new ones, because we did get new ones, and they are pretty all right. They have some kinks need to be worked out, but they are definitely, I'm optimistic about their future.
We're right on board. The driver that came into today's race, the AM class points leader, David Bush III, in the Lamborghini. He is behind Harley Moss in the Audi. Those two cars both have damage levels of their own. The single sequential Sim Sport car in this race today, as remember, Daniel Munoz withdrew from the series given some circumstances last week, and that story will take the last 4 minutes of the race, so we won't go over that. But Moss does not have any rear wing damage. It looks like maybe Busch has a slight crinkle in the right side of that rear wing, so a little bit drag differential there, and that's why Busch cannot maintain that draft. And this is the battle that we are having on track. This is for 13th overall. These two cars in the AM category. As remember, in the Penguin RC Sports Car Challenge, it is a race within a race. We have all 20 cars overall on the track, but we do have that AM class. It is limited by I-rating, so certain drivers will only be able to race in the AM class versus the Pro class. But if an AM guy wins, he wins the race overall, it still counts. So certainly in a unique nature in motor racing. As we look at those points coming in, Busch 4 ahead of Fanning, but Fanning sits 10th overall, so it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that David Busch will lose the points lead in the AM category as we take 2 3/4 minutes left in the Montreal Grand Prix. Fiercely Forward Spark leads the Constructors' Championship presented by KES Industries, Keep 'em Spinning Industries, Adaptive Controls for Sim Racing, Matco Tools 100 back, MPR for the 13 back from Matco Tools. As Fiercely Forward Spark looking to make another Constructors' Championship here in the Sports Car Challenge. As, actually, I don't think they won the first season, and I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me. They did not. It was Renovo Racing who won that championship. As we remember, Ivan Pandev and Sabian Ragster going down to the end. I remember that because I was a part of that season, and how Kingsbury won on a countback because Ragster got penalized in turn 1 for an accident. That was a whole ordeal. That was a good time. Moss still holds off Busch in the Lamborghini. As Larill, off camera, he had spun in turn 1. I was going to mention it, but he was by himself, so it doesn't necessarily matter, unfortunately. That car torn up, given the circumstances, on lap 1. A lot like in the same corner that Lance Stroll had his accident with Brendan Hartley in 2018 in the Canadian Grand Prix.
There's now
got really loose in the
I think we're trying to take the white flag here. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, Christian Challenger is going to take this white flag. There's a minute 20 seconds left. No flagman to wave it. Yeah. Barney's taking a vacate. Barney, I mean, we talked about there's no restrictions for coronavirus, but like, obviously he's maybe he didn't get the memo. We don't even have his French-Canadian cousin here to help us out. You know, Barney Dupree. But you know, it's a. So we take the white flag. There's that Josh Clark. Yes, that is Josh Clark.
6 seconds. We are on the white flag. 6 seconds for Challenger to maintain this lead over Clog. It's going to be a 2-3 for Fiercely Forward, but it's not the podium spot that they wanted. And Janney, what could have been if Houston got dispatched earlier on, but what a battle, what a defense that Houston put up in the BMW. As Christian Challenger trying to make another victory as Lambert spins it in the McLaren. So we know that he was having some struggles, and it certainly won't help him. Through the casino hairpin, down the back straightaway for the final time for Christian Challenger of Great Britain in the Audi, trying to win once again in the Penguin RC Simulation Sports Car Challenge. Unbelievably, it's going to be 4 wins this season for the Briton. He won in Sebring, Watkins Glen, Summit Point, and in Montreal. Challenger to the top of the pylon in Montreal, winning ahead of Clog and Janney. What could have been for the Fiercely Forward boys, but if it's any consolation, Spark, Fiercely Forward, LLM Constructors champions this season. As Matt Kingsbury, through the adversity of what he had to deal with, starting from the pole position, will win in the AM category, 4th overall for the man from Connecticut, so great run for him. Houston in 5th. 6th will be Ray Kingsbury, 7th Schofield. Looks like 8th will be Rawls, 9th Fanning, 10th will be Brokaw. As we look at Lane and Sohn, this is for 15th here, guys, but they are battling like it's for the World Championship. Sohn on the outside of Lane into the final chicane. Deep on the brakes was Sohn in the Ferrari against the other Ferrari. Final couple of corners, final straightaway. I don't think he'll be able to maintain it as we look at Moftaw sneaking into the picture, but Lane, Sohn, Moftaw, 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Bad. And now as we wrap the racing part of this up, we're going to try and get our race winners into the booth. So we're going to get...
And fun fact, actually, while we pull up our interviews, this is Matt Kingsbury's first win in the Sports Car Challenge, as he obviously won today. So we have a new winner, boys and girls. As we will have a conversation with Josh Clogg, first and foremost, if we can get him in here. It doesn't look like he's actually in here. Let's see if we've got... We'll have a conversation with Matt Kingsbury, with our AM class winner. Matt, you started from the pole. You had some adversity. Describe that race for us from your point of view.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It's really hot here, so it was really hard to focus. But we went into the first few laps, and we didn't have the brakes adjusted right, and it just didn't stop. So that was why we dropped back. But the car was really good. We made some good changes to it compared to what the other McLarens are running. And I think it was probably the right call.
As I was just gonna ask how crazy it was. I mean, you were involved with the racing with Houston at the beginning, with Challoner, with Janney, with Clogg. I mean, how cutthroat was that battle?
I wasn't really involved in it that much. I ran right off the track, so I dropped back and didn't really see him after that. But it looked like they might have had some contact because I caught up to him about 5 seconds at some point.
As Mike, you got anything for our AM class winner?
Yeah, man. I mean, you had a pretty impressive comeback twice. I mean, you had that little incident in the sprint, came back to sit on the pole, hold on pretty well. I mean, I don't know if it's more of a question, more just of a comment. I mean, very impressive driving by you there today.
Yeah, I felt like it was a good comeback. It's really hard to dodge the wrecking ball Area 52 cars, so when they keep driving into you, it's really hard.
Any partners or anything you'd like to thank for your first win in the Sports Car Challenge, Matt?
No, we don't got anyone on board, so.
Just you, yourself, and yourself, right?
Me, myself, and I.
As Matt Kingsbury, our winner in the AM class here in the Sports Car Challenge. Now we're going to have a chat with our overall race winner. His second place is MIA currently. We're looking for Josh Clogg, but
no, he's there. He's there.
Oh, he's here. So actually, we'll wait on our race winner. We'll have a conversation with Josh Clogg. Mikey's all yours.
Josh Clogg came home with a second place finish today. It might be your best finish of the season. I could be wrong there.
You are not wrong.
It's not wrong. All right. Did you tie it, or was it your first second of the year?
That was my first second.
Okay, cool. So I'm not entirely wrong. All right. So yeah, just take us through that race, man. You had a really good run. You were able to hold off some really fast guys.
Yeah, it was a good race. It was kind of, I think Christian, Michael, and myself all had a little bit of top speed down due to some damage, but I think that helped me. It definitely helped me with Michael. I think it helped me stay even with Christian for a little bit too. But yeah, it was a good race. A lot of fun. Very tight track, but it was good.
I want to talk about something that happened. I think it was about 20 minutes into the race. You were battling with Christian, and he got a run down you into one of the corners, and you just kind of let him go. We were all expecting you to maybe give him a little bit of an extra hard time just because Mike's your teammate. What was your decision? What was your thought process there, and how did that affect? And how did Mike being teammates with you and Christian being a championship affect that decision?
Yeah, I think both Michael and myself have kind of a different outlook on a situation like that. Michael doesn't have to worry about it happening as often, but if someone is behind me that I know is quicker. It's not gonna, you know, noticeably quicker. And if he gets around, I'm not gonna fight that. I know he's gonna get around eventually. So it's just better for everyone to let that person go, stay in their draft, and gain some time that way rather than slow both of us down and, get into hairy situations. So it's, it was kind of the long game type of play rather than I need this track position and that's all that matters.
Yeah. All right, I guess just to wrap it up, is there anybody you want to thank? Any sponsor, family, anybody on the car?
Yeah, all the family watching, of course, always much appreciated. All the Fiercely Forward crew, all those sponsors, got GSI, Opencast, Porsche Sport, and any of the others that are on the car that I missed. And yeah, especially for Michael for helping in practice. It's always a big benefit to have somebody that's quick and knowledgeable to bounce ideas off of and practice with, and it's very helpful, very beneficial. And thanks to you guys for the broadcast as always.
No, thank you very much for racing. Here's Josh Clog. There came home with the second place finish, best finish of the year. And we're gonna thank him for racing, and we're now gonna pull in our race winner, Christian Challoner. I don't know if Josh, you want to take this one, or if you want to. What do you want to do?
Can you describe that race for me, Christian Challoner? You started in 8th, given the circumstances of the sprint and the feature inversion, and Houston was a moving roadblock, and I say that with the most love. I mean, describe that race. How was it?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, it was kind of strange actually because it felt all a bit procedural kind of at the beginning. I think I gained more spots than I expected to right at the start. Obviously, Peter in the BMW is extremely hard to pass, but like in the best way, like you say. He's, for my mind, I don't think he's overly aggressive. He just positions his car perfectly every time, and you have to really get it right to be able to actually pass him. I mean, at Summit Point, it was the same deal. He wasn't being overly aggressive in defending. He was just positioning his car in a way that it just made it really difficult to get a run on him. And it was kind of the same here tonight, although actually, kind of with the consecutive chicanes, it was actually a bit easier to pass him than it probably was at Summit. So I was a little bit surprised at that. I had a little bit of help coming through. Josh Clog probably regrets actually letting me by, because I think he was actually probably just as fast in the second half of the race. It would have been really hard to pass him. I got very lucky at the beginning, being able to pass Michael literally in turn 2. That was kind of a bit of a sneaky move up the inside, but I could sort of see that outside line was getting checked up. So yeah, actually kind of calm past the first couple of laps. Really sort of surprising, to be honest.
As 2 races left here in the championship, unofficially you are, I think, in the points lead. It's going to be Miami and Sonoma. How are you feeling about those 2 tracks?
Well, I really hate Sonoma, but I actually kind of like the Homestead Roval, so hopefully we can kind of get some good points there. But it was nice this week, though, to actually kind of take the full sweep. I was really not expecting that. In qualifying, I had the lap for second with 1 lap to go, and I was a 10th up, I think, coming out of the first or the second chicane. And I even said this to Michael. I said, like, I saw that and I was like, I'm just going to send it. And it just about happened to be enough. So that was pretty cool, actually, especially obviously after last week where we had to start from the back. It was kind of cool to come back and actually take the first sweep of the season. Obviously did that in the AM quite a bit, but I think it's the first time this season that I managed to get the pole, the sprint, and the feature. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think that reverses all the damage that was done at Detroit. So looking kind of good for the last 2 rounds, I think.
Has any partners, family, friends you'd like to thank for tonight's result?
I'd just like to shout out to you guys and to Michael, actually, because he's a really great competitor, and I enjoy kind of running through practice with him every time. It's like we're always trying to kind of leapfrog ahead of each other, and then gets to qualifying, and he kind of normally has an edge on me in the 1 lap pace, actually, but then through the sprint and the feature, we always have a really good battle. Obviously, tonight, I kind of got a little bit lucky. Was able to escape away from him a bit earlier than usual. So, yeah, everybody in the series is always a great league. And yeah, to Michael for being a really great competitor, actually pushing me along all the time.
As a good run, sir, and we will see you next week in Miami. as I think we lost Charley. We did lose Charley. Power went out, so he is AFK. So I don't think we'll get a recap of Twitch land. I can run through and see. Great battle between Houston and Janny. Fun to watch. Great race all around. Barney was getting ice cream, according to Gecko. So that's what he was doing. But we have a consistent amount of viewers here on Nitro Circus Twitch and on the Automotive Sports Network on Demand. Be sure to join the conversation. Remember, hashtag on NASA on Nitro or ASN TV USA and at NASA on iRacing. Mike Berry, your final thought.
Yeah, I mean, just a great battle we watched there. And, just battles all around the track. Everybody was fighting hard. We had a great, unfortunately, we didn't have a great battle for the win there, but everything around it was pretty great. Congrats to Christian. Congrats to Josh Cloggett on a season best finish. And congrats to Matt Kingsbury for winning his first class win in sports cars. So, yeah.
It's a couple programming notes here on Nitro Circus Twitch, powered by the Automotive Sports Network. Wednesday, the Crandon Off-Road Experience by iDrive Sim Training, round 8 of the 2021B Sim Racer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge, presented by Nitro Circus. And then next Monday, the Grand Prix of Miami at the Homestead Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida. We go to the Roval course. That is one of my favorite tracks, so certainly going to be a great race. But from all of us here at Nitro Circus Twitch and the Automotive Sports Network, from Mike Berry, Victor Vallee, Charley Daniels, I am Josh Mertz, all the team at NASA Sim Racing. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the Penguin RC Simulations NASA Sports Car Challenge presented by Nitro Circus, and we will see you in a couple of days for some Rallycross. But until then, so long, everyone.